lot of knowledge about the world, but they know a whole lot about how to get it. We are powerful and natural explorers. Brain rule number 12. This never leaves us, despite the artificial environments we've built for ourselves. The grump factor. I am a nice guy, but I am a grumpy scientist. For a study to appear in this book, it has to pass what some of my clients call MGF, the Medina grump factor. That means the supporting research for each of my points must first be published in a peer-reviewed journal and then successfully replicated. Many of the studies have been replicated dozens of times. To stay as reader-friendly as possible, extensive references are not in this book, but can be found at www.brainrules.net/references. No prescription. There's a great deal we don't know about the brain. I am a developmental molecular biologist specializing in psychiatric disorders. I have been a private consultant for most of my professional life, working on countless research projects beyond the lab bench. Over and over in my career, I have seen what a distance there is between a gene, one's DNA instructions, and a behavior, how a person actually acts. It's very hard to say with certainty that a specific behavior is caused by a specific gene, or that changing X behavior will produce Y result. Occasionally, I would run across articles and books that made startling claims based on, quote, recent advances in brain science about how we should teach people and do business. The Mozart effect comes to mind, the popular idea that listening to classical music makes students better at math, or the notion that analytical people are left-brain people and creative people are right-brain people, and each must be managed accordingly. Sometimes I would panic, wondering if the authors were reading some literature totally off my radar screen. I speak several dialects of brain science, and I knew nothing from those worlds capable of dictating best practices for education and for business. In truth, if we ever fully understood how the brain knew how to pick up a glass of water, it would represent a major achievement. There was no need for me to panic. Brain research still cannot, without equivocation, tell us how to become better teachers, parents, business leaders, or students. In addition to the ideas you'll find within each chapter, I end each chapter with a few more potential ways to apply the research in our daily lives. But these are not prescriptions. These are hypotheses. If you try them, you will be doing your own little research project to see whether they work for you. Back to the jungle. What we know about the brain comes from biologists who study brain tissues, experimental psychologists who study behavior, cognitive neuroscientists who study how the first relates to the second, and evolutionary biologists. Though we know precious little about how the brain works, our evolutionary history tells us this. The brain appears to be designed to 1. Solve problems, 2. Related to surviving, 3. In an unstable outdoor environment, and 4. To do so in nearly constant motion. I call this the brain's performance envelope. Each subject in this book, exercise, sleep, stress, wiring, attention, memory, sensory integration, vision, music, gender, and exploration, relates to this performance envelope. We were in motion, getting lots of exercise. Environmental instability led to the extremely flexible way our brains are wired, allowing us to solve problems through exploration. To survive in the great outdoors, we needed to learn from our mistakes. That meant paying attention to certain things at the expense of others, and it meant creating memories in a very particular way. Though we have been stuffing them into classrooms and cubicles for decades, our brains actually were built to survive in jungles and grasslands. We have not outgrown this. Because we don't fully understand how our brains work, we do dumb things. We try to talk on our cell phones and drive at the same time, even though it is literally impossible for our brains to multitask when it comes to paying attention. We have created high-stress office environments, even though a stressed brain is significantly less productive than a non-stressed brain. Our schools are designed so that most real learning has to occur at home. Taken together, what do the studies in this book show? Mostly this. If you wanted to create an education environment that was directly opposed to what the brain was good at doing, you probably would design something like a classroom.